I know you do a lot of research on self-improvement, a lot of it, and you spend a lot of time focusing on it. So, we haven't got to talk about it in probably the last year or two.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious as to what's new in that area that you're working on and are working toward.
The biggest thing right now is more or less consistency, making everything super consistent. So I have in the morning when I wake up, I have my affirmations, and it keeps getting long. Well, now it's pretty long, but I go through the alphabet, like every letter of the alphabet, I have a word that I go with. And I do it with a cold shower. So I put the shower on super cold and then do my affirmations to prime the day. And that usually gets me really, really sparked, right? It's like now I'm awake, now I'm ready to go. So that's always good. Even if I don't get a great night's sleep, it's like, okay, cold shower comes on, affirmations start, and it's like you brainwash yourself, right? That's the whole thing. It's like, okay, we're up, we're ready to go, we're going. So that's always, always, always happening.
This is part of your morning routine?
Yep.
I'd like to hear about that.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely when I wake up, well, actually my routine is this. I wake up, I go downstairs first, and I start the coffee, the mushroom coffee, then run back upstairs, and then shower. And then usually it's like hot at first, like super hot, because hey, it's comfortable. You got to have a hot shower. And then goes cold. And then I put it on cold, and then I go through my affirmation, same one every day. And then I get done with that, and then it just kind of finish up. Then I go down and finish the coffee. I do the mushroom coffee, put the grass-fed butter in there, and cinnamon, and different flavorings. I like my coffee flavored and tasty.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
100%.
And then it's just kind of getting things going, getting things going for the rest of the day. I usually have things already planned out in my head for the class. It's already happened, so I kind of know what I'm going to be teaching, how I'm going to be teaching. But usually once my day starts, then it's like these little mini things that I do throughout the day. Like one of it, it's just in my head. Every time I open the door of the gym, or when I think about walking even into my house or wherever, when a door opens in my head, I just think gratitude. Doesn't matter where the door is, gratitude.
Love it.
It just kind of just keeps on, and it's just my own little thing. I don't say it out loud. It just, door opens in my own head. It's gratitude. So it's like we call it a trigger, right? It's a trigger. So that's the doors. When I walk on the mat, I'm always like thinking I.C.E, it's my little acronym, so it's I have a few of them that I have throughout the day, but I.C.E is you're going to be inspiring, caring, and energetic. So no matter what, inspiring, caring, energetic. So I do the same thing so I just say it to my head. So as soon as my foot touches the mat, it's just like I.C.E, inspiring, caring, energetic. So it kind of prompts you again to kind of keep going. And then I do the same thing when I coach wrestling. So I walk in and I walk through the door. So you say gratitude, walk on the mat, and it's like, hey, got to be inspiring, caring, and energetic. Let's go. And then go from there. So that usually when I start 10 to 11, and then 11 to 12:30, we have our grappling and like MMA class. Then I'll have this time in the afternoon where I'll have some little time off. And then from 3 to 5:30, I coach wrestling. And then from 5:30 to 6:30, then I'm in the gym. 6:30 to 7:30, Thai boxing. 7:30 to 9 is no-gi grappling today. So it's just like once it starts, it's like doom, 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 doom. Have these little reprieves, but yeah. So I have these little triggers that kind of keep me motivated throughout the day.
So not only a morning routine, you've got a daily routine.
Yeah. But what I do have to do more of, because now what you just got to, you go, and you're supposed to drink more water and you don't. So that's, so that's the big thing. I got to drink water. I got to have water with me, because if I don't have it with me, then it's like, okay, then I just go, then I just go. And then you're like, wait a minute, I'm like 5 pounds lighter than I was at the beginning of the day.
How many days a week are you doing this schedule and teaching?
I do pretty much Monday through Thursday is 100% like that. And then Friday I have grappling in the morning, and then we do live goes again. It's like a lot of live goes for like an hour and a half. We just do live grappling. And then after that, I usually do our Firearms Friday with Todd Fossey and the I.D.S. So that goes till like 2:30. And then I run home really fast, change, do some stuff, and I coach wrestling, or we have a wrestling meet on Fridays. So either way. And then usually on Fridays after wrestling, or if we have a wrestling meet, then I'm good. I got Friday night.
So I've watched some of the gun training you've been putting up.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. And you can tell that you guys are thinking outside of the box. You're putting stuff together. You're testing it, which is super awesome. Can you talk about that a little bit? Yeah.
So the I.D.S. is Integrated Defense Strategies. It's Todd Fossey who runs it. And his whole thing is, he goes, I'm a guy that carries a gun. It's a civilian citizen gun. So we're not law enforcement. We're not military. It's purely citizen gun defense, which takes in a lot of other things. And the biggest thing that he always says is, we're not gunfighters. We happen to be fighters with a gun. Because most people are just holsters waiting to get their gun taken, because they never practice drawing. They never practice fighting in close. They never practice retention. They never practice, what's going to happen when because the vast majority of gun situations happen within 6 feet. I mean, that's super close.
Yep.
And all of a sudden that's one step and that person's grabbing your gun, or it's a fight. And so that is just very rarely ever practiced. And then we do a lot of decision making. So when do you pull your gun? When don't you pull your gun? So I'll have people come at you that aren't really a threat. They're just kind of maybe a loose cannon, but they're like, but now we pull a gun. Now, if nothing else happens, a bunch of people see it. You're the one who is potentially going down for assault. And if you shoot the dude, well, now you are SOL. And then we also do like mock 911 calls. So once we shoot, we have to go and get to a place of safety. We got to top off our gun, make sure everything's good, check for wounds, see if we got hurt, because you don't know. See if you got hurt, something happens, then call 911. How much information do you give or do not give? All this stuff we go over. And so, and that's, to me, that's almost the most tense part of it when you're really role playing like that, because I try to put myself in that scenario, like this just really happened. And then we have the guy that's the 911 call that's trying to, so what happened? Who shot who? No, there's someone injured. We just need an ambulance here really fast. I'm injured. I need some help. There's some, so you're not giving. Yeah, I shot this dude in the face. Oh, shit. Now you're screwed. So yeah, so it's like, what do you say? What don't you say? When the police get there, how do you deal with the police? Because you're the one that's gun. You okay? I'm wearing a pair of this pants. I got this colored shirt on. I'm armed. I have I'm able to carry. My name is Greg, and then it's you don't have to give too much more. And then when they come, how do we address it? Because you're a dude with a gun. They don't know who you are, so you're getting taken down. So you better be used to that.
Nice. So
it's really fun. But that, to me, like the regular drills where you're just drawing and doing all the drilling, that's fun. It's repetition. You're going over stuff over and over. But then when you have these scenarios where it's like, does he have a knife? Doesn't he have a knife? Is he aggressive? Do I pull my gun? Don't I pull my gun? So the OODA loop, the instant OODA loop, right?
Yeah.
You can figure it out how fast, when do I stay hands on and don't even go for my gun? Because that's your ace in the hole. So you don't want to all of a sudden pull he's got a gun. And now the other person said he had a gun, so I pulled my gun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's concealment first. We don't want to give our ace in the hole away. So all these different things that I think most people have zero clue about or train.
I totally agree. And I've been getting into the gun training industry a lot more lately myself through to the tactical group. And it's surprising to me how the professionals don't train that range you're talking about. They make space and then go to the weapon system. But as far as if they're on top of you, you don't see a lot of that. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to ask about it, because I've been seeing it a lot myself.
Yeah, so that's funny, because Todd goes to a lot of these things. And he said there's so much complete tomfoolery, as I say, in the firearms world. Everybody assumes, and this is what we do, and it's like, speed draw and this. We've got our timer. It's like, well, it's not how fast you draw. It's when you draw at the right time and for the right reasons.
Under stress.
Yeah, under stress. And so we do a lot of that scenario, like Fridays, before we do our Firearms Friday, like Todd and maybe one other guy or two other guys will wear their guns, and he'll come up and show all the other grapplers, okay, blah, blah, blah. So if you can get my gun, get my gun. And so even with the MMA guys, everybody's now playing a different game. And what I found out, and this is something that I think is really important, well, when I grapple with the gun, now your focus becomes so intense, because you can't do these things that you normally do. Oh, I'm going to reach a high underhook. Now your gun's taken. Oh, I'm going to roll on my left side. Now your gun's exposed. Oh, I'm going to do a triangle. Oh, the guy pulls his gun and shoots you in the ass. Whatever, So now all these things that you would normally do, you cannot do. I mean, you have to be guarding, you have to be focused. And I found personally that my defense has gotten so much better across the board, regardless if I have a gun or not, because now I know how to focus. I really bringing my elbows in tight. I'm always driving as if I have that gun where you're going to be stronger anyways. And so I found that my defense and my focus on the ground increased once I started grappling with the firearm on. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we've been playing it a lot too. I noticed that I stay away from getting pinned a lot more.
Yeah.
I make more of an effort to not get pinned underneath somebody, keep the weapon system away from them, keep my body at an angle and just move. Yeah. So it did the same with us, changed the whole game, really. It started to develop into a different methodology, almost a different system entirely.
Different art.
Yeah.
When you got the gun on, it's a different art. It's not jujitsu anymore. It's not grappling. It is gun grappling. It is a different art. You cannot do things that you'd normally do. And you find out, and it's not like necessarily training scars, but you have to know when you can do things and then when you can't. So once you have that firearm on, it's a different game. It's a different world. And then all of a sudden when you don't have it on, now you can free flow it and do all sorts of stuff. It's kind of like if I'm doing like sport jujitsu, I can do whatever the hell I want because I'm not going to get punched in the face. I can roll around. I can do craziest stuff in the world. Who cares? Right? Now we start taking off the gi and it gets a little bit faster. The game's going to be a little bit more intense. Now we put the MMA gloves on and we can punch each other in the face. Now things simplify a little bit. Now we got to be a little bit more diligent in how and where we put our hands, where our head is, all these things. And now we put a weapon on.
Love it.
It goes up another level. So it's like all these different types of grappling styles that all end up helping one another as long as you know where and when each one fits in. That's a huge thing. And here's the big assumption, I think, that because someone is a really good jiu-jitsu person or a grappler, they can grapple with a gun. Oh no. You find out real fast that you'll make classic mistakes, and all of a sudden that gun is just there and the guy just takes your gun. It's like, well, you just got shot with your own gun. Yeah, so it becomes really fun. I really enjoy it. It really makes you think outside the box, like you said earlier. We do a lot of drills where we're a lot of movement, a lot of 3-dimensional where eyes are closed and the people come up and now they open your eyes and now you got to figure out, is this guy really a threat or not a threat? Is he attacking me? Is he not attacking me? And it was funny. When I first started doing a lot of firearms training, I mean, I did a lot of shooting, but not to this level that we're doing now. And I did far more, since my days at Target and growing up, far more where you enclose and immediately you engaged. Well, now you got a distance weapon, and the habit to engage, it's like, no, we got a distance weapon. We want this ability. Once it's out, why wouldn't we want to make distance? It's so funny though, because of the mindset of all those years of when the fight starts, engage. Even when we'd pull the weapon out, we'd have the gun drawn and we're walking towards the guy going, get back. And Todd's going, do you know what you're doing right now? You're walking towards the guy, telling him to get back. Damn it. And so then it was a total mind shift, because now it's like, yeah, we have a distance weapon. As long as that muzzle is pointed at that target, why wouldn't we want to get distance and get away? But that mindset of engaging right away, and that's a different thing too. It's like, what's the scenario? What's going on? Right? Is the dude some kind of total crazy active shooter, and your kids are out there, and you got to take this guy out? I mean, that's a different scenario, as opposed to you're just by yourself and you're defending yourself. Now it's like, dude, I want to get away. So yeah, that changes things too. So we'll do little mind shifts in there. It's like, okay, your kids are with you. You cannot run. Now what do you do? How do we deal with this situation? So now it's like, oh boy.
So are you getting to plug this into any urban environments outside of the academy?
Yep. We do stuff in and around our cars.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're in the car, how to manage around the car, where are the most solid parts of your car, right. The refraction of, you're shooting through your windshield once, and then all of a sudden you got a hole there. So now you can just keep going through, but how you're pieing it even inside there. So you're coming through that same hole. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens, and it's going underneath and shooting underneath the car, staying behind the wheels, all these things. It's pretty wild. And then we'll do live fire. We'll go out and do, go to a range where we can draw and do all the drawing drills and do everything, which is important, because now, because a lot of people will draw and they don't even think about their other hand in front of instead of right away getting that hand out of the way, and just all these little training scars because they never practice drawing. They never practice, because you can't at most ranges.
I agree. Yeah.
You cannot draw, and you find out, depending on what kind of shirt you got on. You got one of them clingy, weird shirts, and you try to pull up, and next thing you know, your gun's stuck in it. You got one round because the freaking shirt's going to jam inside the. Man, there's so many crazy. But the big thing too is that anything that happens, Todd is always like, work through it, figure it out. And then we'll do a sim round stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got this new training system. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like Sims, but sim rounds will jam all the damn time.
Yeah.
And so this one doesn't. It's like a much more, I'll have to figure out what it is. But he just got sponsored by this company. And so that's something that we're doing. He's starting to do a lot more. He has his own facility that's maybe 40 minutes from me, but that's all they do is focus on firearm and grappling and firearm with the grappling. And that's all they do. So it's pretty cool though. And he's also he was a psychologist. He also worked in Hollywood as a documentary guy, and so he has all this. So he has a whole platform, whole system, his whole video system. They just did one on triage and combat, dealing with wounds. So we'll do that too. Tourniquets, stuffing wounds with gauze, stopping the bleeding. So. We have some pretty crazy scenarios that we do. He has a camp. He has like a training camp, and we'll rent out facilities where role players will be there being shot, active shooter things, bleeding all over the place, screaming, fires going on. It's intense.
I've had a chance to play at a couple of those sites with a local SWAT team. They go twice a year it's like their camp.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing what these facilities have now.
Oh,
Set
yeah.
up. You know, they can just flip a switch and there's a car on fire when you come
Yep.
around the corner. And
Yep.
it's unreal.
Yeah, it's funny because you have these kids running and screaming some, "Hey, my mommy."
Fake, but it looks real.
Yes, it looks real. And it's like, you know, we had one where it was a college campus and your daughter called you and you're by the campus and you got to go up this building and you're going through this, you know, you're going up these levels, there's smoke everywhere. And then you go into one room and some of these scenarios, it's like, there's no right answer. It's just this shit happens. Like there was one where he had the college students tackle the guy with the gun, but you didn't know that. So you come around the corner and you see a guy with a gun, active shooter situation. And now it's like, well, I shot the guy. But did you know he was a bad guy or a good guy? I didn't know. Well, maybe that guy fucked up a little bit by, you know, who knows? He's got a gun in his hand. You already getting you're hearing gunshots going on. People are screaming or bleeding. You come around a corner. There's some student who they tackled the guy. Now he's got the gun. You don't know.
Yeah.
So that is some stressful stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, it's the reality. And then the police will come too. So all this stuff will come and then you'll have to drop and you turn your back, you have to put your gun down, your hands up, your lacing, everything. And then there's one that he did where your significant other has been shot in the leg and she's bleeding. She's on the other side of this building. It was like a big party, like a party for a business, and active shooters are in there and they're going around, and some of them have rifles, some of them have guns, but the police are in there too. So it is chaos. I mean, it's chaos.
I want to go play.
Yeah. Then afterwards, you always do the debrief. You know, why did you do this? What was your thought process here? And like in a lot of situations, there is no right or wrong answer. You just have to act, because to not act is worse.
Right.
So just as long as you know, and then you have to explain. Then you have to do the mock 911 calls. It's just freaking chaos. Yeah.
How often do you get to go do something like that?
Well, he has his camps like every few months.
Really?
Every few months he'll have a camp, and he has different levels. Mm-hmm. And I'll go help teach at him. Like maybe I'll do like dealing with knives or just different grappling scenarios, grappling situations, or wall defense or something like that. You know, you pin against the wall. How do we get out? How do we do this? How do we do that? And then I'll just do the rest of the class too. And he does a lot of classroom stuff too, where he's going over all the statistics and all the, he's a big stat guy. So he just researches everything, all the information that's out there. And so then that's where we'll kind of he'll devise drills around that stuff too. Knowing that 56% of the time, if there's multiple people, someone comes and helps. But now it's like, when they come and help, are they really helping? I mean, there's all this crazy stuff. If they don't know what they're doing, it becomes even worse sometimes. So we'll have people come and help that are just being complete idiots. You can manage it now. What do you do? Sometimes you got to take that dude out. It's like, get out of here.
That's great.
Dude, you're not helping.
Yeah, you're not helping. You're not helping. Yeah, it gets really fun.
We'll switch you over to the fight side of the house. You had a recent trip out for the UFC.
Yep. We had John Castaneda. He just fought, did a really good job. Ended up arm triangling the guy to sleep. And the guy was coming off of 4 consecutive knockouts, wins. So he's a real power puncher, but we just totally had our game plan and movement. John's really good at movement and angling and switching leads in and out. So we just the first round was all about being patient. We don't want to find out how hard this guy can hit, so we don't have to rush in there. But at the same time, we want to kind of press him, be a little bit angled and get him off his game. And so the first round, perfect play, and he got hit a couple times. And in the corner, I was like, okay, you got hit. How do you feel? And he just goes, I go, okay, game on, press it. And they just start pressing the guy, pressing. But at the same time, changing angles. Then he dropped him and took him down. And then the third round, same thing, press, kneed him in the head, dropped him, took him down, got arm triangle, choked him out. And so it was a great fight. I mean, just right to plan. One of our big things is we always call our guys arm triangle hunters. We're always hunting because they're everywhere. They're everywhere, and they set up everything. Once you got that arm triangle, you're in control. You're in great control. And now it's like, where do you want to go? The back, top, Kimuras, arm bars, wherever you want to go. So we always call it arm bar hunters. So there it is. And so it was automatic. The guy fell, his arms up, just boom, just jumped on it. So I was like, there it is. It's happening. My goal is that when our guys fight, they're going to be like, do not get caught in an arm triangle because we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, so that was really fun. And we just had Rose and Pat here for the last month. So they'll come for a month and go back for a month, and they'll come back for another month. And so that's always good because then we get a lot of training from Pat, a lot of really good striking training. And then we'll have specific things like I bring in Gunner to work with Rose with wrestling because he can imitate and do all the striking and all the whatever we need to do. So when she was fighting Waylay, Gunner would watch Waylay and imitate how Waylay moves and try to come in and try to attack. And he's strong. He's the same size, so it works out perfect. But he can strike and he can spar if he needs to. So it's really fun for him because it kind of gets him motivated, gets him jazzed up to train a lot. So, and we really work on a lot of wrestling and counter wrestling and how that's going to play into the fight and putting in our strikes with our wrestling. And so that's been really fun.
So what does that look like? Some of your counter wrestling material that you're doing without giving away any trade secrets, of course.
Well, big thing is it's a lot of little footwork angulations. Like we're doing lead changes, like diamond steps and L steps. Mm-hmm. So when you get the person stepping in, we're hitting an angle, then we're always ready. And this is something that Pat has been harping on for the last 2 years, but you're always ready to throw a knockout overhand right or overhand left. Yeah. So your back foot is always ready. Your back foot is always set. Your back hip is always set. So what that gives us is also the ability to shoot immediately. So no matter how we angle, that back foot and back hip is set. So you can shoot, you can attack, you can overhand right, you can defend. So everything's ready all the time. So the biggest thing is as they're moving around and as they're angling, the whole goal is to find yourself set all the time to either shoot or to overhand right and then shoot or do something or overhand left so that you're constantly dangerous. Every time you make an angle change, it's like, oh crap, dangerous. Oh crap, dangerous. Oh crap, ready. And so that's been a big thing that we've really been focusing on over the last couple of years and doing a lot of different drills around that. Is it off of kicks? Is it off of punches? Are we crashing the line and jumping back and changing angles? Are we going from out of range where we can't make contact? So everything is role played. So when you start a drill, you start it as if it's like a fight. So mentally, you don't just come up and walk up to your guy and just start drilling, because that's not what happens in a fight. There's you're walking around each other. There's this little fakes going on and little motions you get to draw out certain intention, see what's happening. So every time we drill, that's the goal, is that we're always moving in that manner so that you're just not walking in and creating these bad habits. So our big thing is everything matters. How you move your feet, how your fakes on the outside are, when you're totally out of range, are you in long kick range? And we do little games where we have a numbering system for each range. So we'll yell out the number, and then the person has to get to that range and back out of range. So it's like 5, 3, 2, 5, 3. So just constantly changing the ranges and messing people up, and then shifting, a lot of shift stepping, changing angles, changing, stances, and then being able to shoot off each stance Or once we, even though we're ready to go, we can also pull back and move and get out. So there is no, if the shot's not there, we don't force the shot, because that's where usually the problems happen when you try to force something. So if it's not there, regroup, get out, do it again, figure it out, be comfortable everywhere. So we've been doing a lot of that in all of our striking training.
In your experience, you've obviously been at this for a long time. You're producing great fighters. As a trainer, does it seem to get more simple for you, or has it become more complicated, planning the training and implementing it with your guys?
Well, we have more of definitely kind of a plan of action of how we want to develop guys, develop their footwork, develop their movement. But we don't cookie cutter our guys, because everybody fights different. Everybody moves different.
Yeah.
Different body types. So the thing is kind of looking at who they're fighting. And my big thing is, and I harp on this all the time about, everybody talks about game plan, got to get your game plan against the other guy. Okay, yeah, that's great. But we've come out in fights where we game planned against a guy, and all of a sudden he's a different lead and doing different stuff. Want to know why? Because they're game planning too. They're changing the way they do things. And so it's like, okay, we have our general game plan, but our game plan is how do we implement our strengths? If we know the guy more as a wrestler base, okay, he's a wrestler, great. So we have that. He's probably going to come with some heavy hands. So our game plan is how do we figure out how to navigate how he's moving, but we don't really change what we're going to do. We just get better at finding how to do it when given this guy's, previous fights and what we've seen as tendencies. So we try to, maneuver our guys such that they're not trying to worry so much about what the other guy's doing. They're just figuring out how they're going to apply what they're going to do to this guy. And that's a big thing that we do with a lot of fighters. And the other thing I do is I go, okay, guys, if you're really good at this game plan theory, you should be able to do it every time you spar, because you spar these guys every freaking Tuesday and Thursday. And if you don't figure it out, how are you going to game plan? If you can't game plan against the guys that you spar with every single day, how are you going to game plan against some dude you never fought against? So I'll tell them, okay, if you know you have a problem with a guy in the gym, the way they move, you got to think, okay, this is my guy I'm game planning against. How do I game plan against this guy so I can kind of thwart his movement and figure out how to land my stuff or be more successful when I spar this guy? And I go, that's how you figure out how to game plan. You do it every day with the guys that you're with, and you figure out the guys that are the trouble for you. But you got to figure it out.
So unpack that a little bit. So let's say you have an issue with an individual person. Someone's giving you trouble. Like, would you give them, like, for this round, I want you to work this one thing instead of doing too many things at once and getting confused by it?
Yeah.
Like he's doing this. So now, like today, I only want you to, deal with how he's coming in at this angle or his uppercut or whatever it is.
Yep.
Is that how you approach it?
Yeah, basically, we'll just kind of look at saying, hey, you're getting kicked in the leg by this guy every freaking 10 seconds. Okay, so we gotta work against that. How are you gonna move to minimize those leg shots? And when they do land, they're not landing as hard. So what do you got to do? Okay, when you move this way, now what does that set you up to do? So we kind of break it down like that. And like when we're even with Rose, like when we're out sparring, like back in Colorado, and we're sparring with all the, there's a bunch of girls there that are fighting in the UFC and the PFL, and she's sparring with them. Sometimes, Pat will be like, okay, today the whole goal is we want you to hit and not be hit. And there was days, okay, so we don't have to go in there and trade. We just got to hit and get out, hit and move, move and hit while moving. And there was days it was great because we'd go five minute rounds, and we'd look and we'd review the film, and Rose would get hit like 4 times in 25 minutes and still just be just because there was a focus. And then there was other times they go, okay, this today, the whole focus is at some point during every round, you have to take them down and hold them down. And so that's like, could be right away, could be waiting to the end, but nobody else knows, but that's the plan that we have for the day.
Nice. Well, who's the nerd in the group who keeps those stats? How do you do that?
Well, the biggest thing is like, when I'm working specifically with somebody who's got a fight coming up, then I can just focus on those people a little bit more. And then we have different, like Coach Nat will be working as well. He'll be like specifically holding pads for some of the fighters, and he's kind of formulating their striking. So I don't have to worry about that because I trust him 100%. It's like, I don't have to worry what's going on over there. He's doing his job. And then we have really good wrestlers in there. So I go, well, why don't you go work with this guy over there? Because this is his game. This is where he's just coming out of 4 years of college wrestling. And, 5-time place winner, state of Minnesota. So he's got it down. So we'll work with him. And so, it's nice to have a bunch of guys in there that are really, really good at certain areas that you can just go over there, go over there. I want you to monitor his progress for the next couple of weeks on his grappling. So makes it a lot easier for me when it can delegate like that.
Nice. You got the crew.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I work with specific fighters, that I focus a little bit more on. So
when you're reviewing films, sorry, I'm the nerd in this group. So is that usually like, are you just sitting there with your phone, writing stuff down, or is it on the computer, combination of both? I'm just curious.
Everything. Like we'll, like a lot of times we'll come back and we'll just, I film like almost every training session that goes on. So then I'll go through, like usually they're in the afternoon portion, like right now, a lot of times I'm going over what happened in the morning, and I can scan through pretty fast when there's nothing going on. Then I go, oh, that's what I was looking for. And then I'll go back and forth and see how the feet were moving. Then I can take that little piece, edit it down to that piece, send it to the person, say, see where your foot was? You see how your back foot didn't turn, and you threw your right hand, but your foot was pointed the other way. This is what we've got to work on, or whatever it is. And so I'll do that. And like with Rose, it's just kind of a habit. After a sparring session, we'll film everything, and then we'll go back and we'll watch every second of every round. And we'll go over it, because everything is being monitored. How she was on the outside, how she approached, the fakes, everything's kind of thought about. And so we'll go over that. And then she's really, really diligent about watching film and just scrutinizing her movement and why she did a certain thing, and then coming back and breaking things down in that manner. So, hey, we got to work this little piece right here. That's all we're going to work. And the funny thing is, the better the fighter is, that I found anyways, the more that they'll want to work specific things over and over and over. So I work like Rose, I'll do something, I'll show something at the beginning of the camp or first training session. We're going to work from this. So sure, I go, where do you want to work? I want to work some stuff from bottom half guard getting up. And I said, okay, so we'll work it for an hour. And then maybe we'll come back at night again. I said, what do you want to work? Let's work what we did this morning. Okay. And then the next day I go, what do you want to work? What we did yesterday. And it's like, because there's so many little nuances, you can just keep building off of those little things. And I think that was like how Shirk was. It was like, no, let's just do this, because I know this is where I'm going to have most success over and over and over and over and over. Brock was really like that. He was like, I want to know what we're going to work, why we're going to work it. And he broke down a lot of film and, how we're going to, he didn't want to just have a random training session. It's like, we got a goal today. This is what we're going to do, how we're going to do it.
So the key is simplicity in the smaller pieces rather than getting a lot of information dumped on you in that hour. It's just smaller over and over and over repetition. Yeah,
because the questions at that level are always going to be, okay, we've been doing this. What if they press with this elbow because I found that this happens a lot. Okay, boom. Now we got that little tangent could be the next 40 minutes dealing with that little bit of pressure. And so that's where I think where the fun comes in, and where for me, I'm able to do that really well. Because I take from so many different sources that have been dumped in my body over the last, 45 years, from collie to wrestling to everything. So it's like, well, and I look how the person moves. I go, well, that's just like this move. Let's do this. And they go, wow, that works really well. But now another person might be totally something different. It's like, they're not going to be able to pull it. They don't have the same hips. So we're going to do this instead.
So my last nerd question, Alan, and then I'll get out of the way here on this.
Oh no, this is great, man. I'm still stuck on 45 plus years.
Oh, we knew that.
Gregnelson is a machine.
Oh, we already knew that too.
I'm wondering when he takes time to eat lunch.
That literally was my question is, when are you reviewing these things and having any time for anything? Because this sounds like a lot of stuff.
I'm super motivated.
It is, but it's kind of fun because, well, when I come home, that's usually when I eat something. Like it could be a smoothie or getting cooked food right now. So that's awesome. But, and then, that's when I usually go over, something, especially if we have more of a fight coming up, then I'm definitely going to be a little bit more diligent on scrutinizing certain things that we're working with. And then I really got to buckle down and try to watch more footage. If we don't really have, if we're more at the beginning of a fight camp, then I'm looking at just general things, breaking things down. I'm looking at it and go, okay. And even like if I film a class that I did in the morning, like I have a no-gi class this morning, but I have another no-gi class at night, and I'll look at that and go, you know what? I think I'm going to tweak this for the night class because this is going to work a little better. So I'll look at what I did in the morning and go, no, here's what we're going to do. We're going to tweak this a little bit. So I'll make those adjustments for the night class. So it's all comes back.
Are you still doing your black out the room sleep routine and all that stuff?
Yeah. I have to shut the curtains and black out the lights, and once I see light, it's like ding.
You were ahead of the game on this because I talked to you about this years ago, and I'm reading a book right now. I don't know if you've heard of it. I think it just came out. It's called Stolen Focus. Have you heard of that one yet?
Heard of it yet.
It's awesome. And it's like, did Greg Nelson write this book? Because half of the stuff in there, I'm in the sleep chapter now. The blue light, don't look at screens before you go to bed. It's literally all of that. And this guy went to, I believe it was 200 experts in this field. And he touches on, what social media is doing and different things that are kind of making us lose our focus. People aren't reading books as much. They're consuming these little pieces of things, and it's messing up our brain. And if you don't sleep properly, your brain is physically not flushing out properly. And a lot of the stuff that I'm hitting on right now, it's like, man, Greg was on this years ago. I remember going out to dinner one night at CSW, and you were laying that whole thing out for me. And I'm like, man, that was years ago you were talking about that. This thing just came out.
Yeah, because I used to be the absolute enemy of sleep.
I remember.
Yeah. Like 4 hours a night. I was like, good to go. I'll sleep when I'm old. So then I was like going to all these different things, Brenda Burchard and they're like, dude, sleep is paramount. You got to get it. You think you don't, but you're not as focused. You're not as productive as you think you are because now your mind's wandering. It's not able to gravitate and hang on to something for as long. So it's like, okay, it took me, like I told you that, man, it was 7+ months to figure out how to sleep 7 hours. It was just like, I had to do all these different things and figure stuff out. And blacking out the curtains was huge because that was a big thing. And then, for me, if I have anything that like I do, like that activates my brain, and then I'm in trouble. Because then I'm going to keep thinking about it. So if I'm doing stuff, like if I do anything that has to do with whatever, it's like usually more on the fiction side of things. So I can just not have to think about it. That's like my time to relax my brain a little bit before I go to bed, or talk or do whatever, which is you do now a lot, just kind of talk about stuff and kind of hang out. But I have also will have a notebook, because if I do have an idea, I got to write it down, because if you fall asleep, you forget it. And so what do? You don't sleep because you keep thinking about it. So I'm like, nope, okay, I got this little idea. So I got scraps of paper all over the place and notebooks with things written on it, because all of a sudden it'll pop in. It's like, brrr.
You and Eric.
Some of the best ideas come in the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, so I have these little notebooks, and I got to grab one and write something down. And even if it's just like a reminder of what it was, because like all I need is a reminder of this. Because your brain is like a freaking random synapse. As soon as it's thinking of something else, like pew, pew, pew. Now it's like whatever was being thought of 4 thoughts ago, which happens in a microsecond, is gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Eric just showed me 5 pages of notes a couple of days ago. He's like, I had an idea in the middle. I woke up and I just wrote 5 pages of notes. It's like, oh my God. He's just like you. You guys do the same thing. That's great.
Yeah, I think it's, for me, I have to write little notes all over the place.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sorry, Alan, go ahead.
oh, since Coach was ahead of the curve back then on this, so I'm curious, what's new that you're working on now? What are you ahead of everybody on now?
Oh, I don't know about what I'm ahead on with everybody, but I still have my, I think for me, it's kind of figuring out, and because here's the thing, you got so many sources of all these different things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
What works here, but then you have to decipher through all that stuff and see what actually is going to work for you. And I think that's kind of the big thing, because certain people can do certain things, and man, you try that, it doesn't work, or you have to try this type of smoothie or this type of food because this really helps, and you do it, and it doesn't do shit for me.
Yeah.
But I'll try to do it for like a couple months to see if, to get my body used to it. And then it's like, nah, not really doing what I thought. I think I'll go back to what I was doing. But I just started, let me go get this really quick, because I don't know what it's called yet.
Awesome.
Here comes the secrets.
Yes.
Secrets that are written in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Genius. I think that's how Einstein did it too.
So I was just out with John Spezzano, and he was going over this. He had this guy that was going over all this about gut health and the gut health, and so this was his newest thing. So I've been trying this. It's like this Pure Try probiotic powder, and what it is like think about this, but it's like human milk. Blah, 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 blah. It's like a synthetic human milk. But what it does is it helps regulate your insulin and your gut and your flora, your gut health. And so then you can eat different types of food, and it breaks it down better than, if you don't have proper gut health. So it's kind of unique. And then the other one was this one's organic apple peel powder, because there's like this property in the apple peels, I guess, that, and when you do like the cold press, because I do cold press, so that just kind of takes all the juices out, but then all the fibery stuff and all the stuff that maybe a lot of good stuff is in gets kind of discarded. And so usually if I do my smoothie, that's when I'll put a bunch of spinach in there and all the other green stuff. And so now I'm getting the fibery stuff. But then in the mornings, like usually like Tuesdays or Thursdays or both, I'll make my cold press juice. Then I'll bring it in and drink it, share it a little bit. Like I make kind of different types because I like ginger and turmeric root in it. Like Juanita thinks it's poison, so she doesn't. So then I have to make a separate one, but then I'll put that in there. And so I make this, and then I'll bring in some for Nat. And here, take some juice, guys, drink it up. So I like doing that. But I got this cold press thing I just got when I was out with the Rose and Pat, which incidentally is called the Namajuicer. And I go, Rose, you could have totally been sponsored by this because your name is Namajunas. She's like, I know I could have, but I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to deal with all that stuff. So I just bought it. But
cold press is what it
cold
is.
Press. And so what it does is it basically, instead of, a lot of juicers spin this stuff, this one just crushes the juice out of it. So it doesn't get hot. So it keeps all the nutrients. It doesn't boil any of it down or spin it out, or, all that friction causes heat. So the cold press just grinds it out.
And it's just creating juice, not like a smoothie.
Yeah, just creating juice. So I usually do apple, orange, lemon, carrot, ginger root, and turmeric root. Just kind of grind it all down, and then it just.
And do you put any of that powder? Any of that powder you just showed us? Do you put that in there?
No, I usually put the powder in my smoothie, or I put the prebiotic powder in my coffee, because it's like it doesn't have a flavor.
And you were using like some superfood powder or something too. You still using that?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go. I was trying some different stuff, and I think I'm gonna go back on the Juice Plus, it was called, which is basically a plant-based thing, and they have some proprietary way. Initially, the guy was trying to get water to places that didn't have water, so he figured out how to dehydrate different types of plantation plants and stuff to get water. And so then by doing that, he figured out how to powderize the vegetables and blah, blah, blah. So when you eat them, you're getting a whole bunch of different vegetables. And there's been like 500 peer reviews on it from all over the world, different doctors. And it's really like gymnastics teams, the national gymnastics team, a lot of different athletes are endorsing it. A lot of doctors are endorsing it, and the pediatricians. And so there's a lot of studies behind it.
I'm interested in that because I broke Alan's heart last time we talked. I don't drink coffee anymore. I haven't had coffee in a year. So
nonsense.
So something like that. I'm interested in. Yeah. I had to give up the coffee.
I do the mushroom coffee, which usually has about 40 milligrams of like caffeine, but it has chaga mushrooms and lion's mane and cordytes. It tastes like regular coffee. Nice. And then I put the other little stuff in there to make it all floofy and tasty.
I mean, I see like 15 blog posts coming from you or Instagram stuff. And I don't know how you're so good at Instagram. I'm still a bit of a dinosaur with that. Eric's doing it too, putting a lot out. Alan does it. And I seem to be, and this is backwards because I'm the media guy and I can't wrap my head around Instagram. I'm trying so hard.
You don't have any free time.
Yeah. Usually what I do is when I film my stuff, then I got so much ammo. So I can just take something, I look and I go, wow, that's kind of cool looking in my class. I'll just put that up there. But I'll tell you this, I'm still trying to figure out freaking algorithms, because sometimes you'll put so much time, oh, this is going to be a great one. And it's like, all right. And then you put something kind of goofy up and it's like, freaking people are going nuts over it. It's like, really? That was the stupidest thing I've done all week. So it's like, I don't know.
I don't feel as bad now. I can't figure it out either.
But this is something that for me, the Instagram and doing that is kind of my continual neuroplasticity, because it forces me to read and I read stuff in the morning and I'll try to match it up with something that I'm teaching or a picture of some sort, and then what I'm going to talk about, what's my little goal on this thing. So it forces me to think, it forces me to kind of be creative, And that's pretty much, I look at it as much for me as it is for anyone else, because it now forces me to, just do stuff that maybe I wouldn't do, and just put it out there,
Oh,
throw
that's
it out
great.
there. And that's a huge thing. And sometimes it's what I would think is pretty kind of a normal thing for me. Sometimes those are the ones that hit the most, like, oh my God, I can't believe that was so great. And I'm like, really? Okay. But it's like, people are in different places, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So what's coming up this year for you, Coach? What have you got planned?
well, we got CSW Camp coming up, April 7th, right?
7th
8th,
to
9th,
10th.
10th. So that's going to be super fun. Finally back in April again. And then May, I'm back out since the world is opening up, I'm back out in Barcelona and France in May. So that'll be good. I always go out to Barcelona for, a number of days at Michael Acevedo's the academy out there. And then I got another one I'm doing in Marseille, piggybacking right off of that one. So that'll be fun. And then, then it's just the rest of the different camps that we're doing. I think Achan will see. This is something that we're still trying to figure out what's going on in Oregon, because that's freaking communist state. But what's happening out there camp this year.
Hey, one
So-
thing on the CSW camp, we just earlier this week we confirmed Nathan Corbett is going to be there with you guys.
The elbow destroyer. That'll be cool.
Yeah, he agreed to teach with you guys,
Nice.
so that's going to be awesome. That's going to
Yeah,
be cool.
that'll be fun.
Yeah, we were talking to him. I think it was last week we talked to him, and Eric was like, "Yeah, Eric told Nathan that you were looking at his stuff too, and he got a kick out of that. It was like he was like, "Yeah, wow, Gregnelson's looking at your stuff. That's pretty cool. All you guys sharing information."
Yes, 100%.
He was really geeked out about meeting Guru Dan and Ajahn Chai. Like he mentioned, it was like oh my God, it was like he couldn't eat his lunch because he was sitting there with them. They got a great picture of him. Eric got a great picture of him there with him. That's pretty cool because he got to sit there with the two legends.
Yeah. But that's kind of neat when you get to see that, and the people are still like, whoa, and they should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
I wouldn't be doing anything I'm doing without them.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I always talk about when people are like, whatever the situation is, if there's like with the TBA, WTBA, it might not be as organized as it could be, whatever the deal is. I go, well, fucking just send money in anyways. And dude, your whole school's run off Thai boxing almost. If Achan wasn't there, you never would have been doing it. You would have been, who knows what you would have been doing right now.
Yeah, no argument. It's like, hey, they need something. Oh, all right, we'll help them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a career. Yeah, I would argue. I'm going to be careful here. I'm not going to get into. I'm going to step on the third rail here, but I would argue that Guru Dan is he's got to be, if not the one of the most important martial artists in the last 100 years. I don't think any of us would be doing anybody would be doing anything that they're doing. He kept JKD going. He kept it all going.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Every major art that came into the picture was kind of him starting that out and getting things rolling. I mean, if you even go down to the Gracies and how things were starting there and how it kind of expanded and how he was all into that.
Early.
Shooto and Kali and Wing Chun. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
He's still that way. He's still training with everybody.
Totally.
He's 85 now, right?
No, yeah, it's crazy.
He's still training with everybody. I hope to make it to 85.
Yeah, agreed. And be doing what he's doing.
Yeah. That's his whole thing, right? He said, well, you just gotta keep going, because once you stop, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I asked him about that once, though. I go, we were talking about things, and I go, Guru, what I mean, you've been doing this for, I don't even know how many years, but you're in your 80s now. And he's like 80. And I go, where's the energy come from? Or where do you get what you get? What is it? And he just said, I believe I've been ordained by God. That's what he said. I think there's something there, because I just have energy. And once I start teaching, it's like something turns on in me, and I don't get tired.
We've all seen it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, I got it. I get it.
Yeah, you see that switch go, because when you're talking to him on the side, or you're hanging out, or you're going to a meal, he's a different person.
Yeah.
He's very quiet, laid back. He'll talk to you. It's funny and all that. And then when he goes up front, boom, that thing happens. The voice changes. He just takes over. It's like, wow, what is that?
So cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. Awesome. Yeah, super talented, and works still. I think he still, to this day, outworks most people.
Yeah, he's teaching almost all the classes, because he's not doing seminars right now. So he's doing a lot of classes at the school, at the academy. So it's just like nonstop. Teaches the kids class, and the collie class, and the Thai boxing class, and the Junfang class. And yeah. And then he's doing privates. Oh yeah, I'm working with John Jock. I'm working over here. I'm doing this. Got this, this Cambodian boxer, all that stuff. It's like he's constantly finding people to work with. And
it's amazing.
Of course, I always say he's like the never ending kindergarten kid. Everything's like brand new. It's like, whoa, did you see that? Guru is a jab. Yeah, but did you see it? He's fascinated by the stuff. He's like, yeah, but wow, how he did it was amazing.
He embodies the beginner's mind.
Yes, it's so awesome.
And he doesn't stop.
No.
I mean, the few times I've been fortunate enough to go to lunch with him in between events and stuff, and he's at the table reviewing video.
Yeah.
He's constantly researching. It's just amazing to me.
Brings out his tablet, goes, oh geez, watch this.
Yeah.
When I was doing this with my kids' class, just watch this. It's just amazing.
Those kids are amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
If you've ever watched his kids' class.
Oh yeah.
You got guys in there with 40 years in martial arts on their own academies. They're over there like writing stuff down as he's teaching.
Looking at the kids' class.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, do you think those kids 30 years from now are going to go, damn, I didn't know what I had. I was seeing him all the time.
A lot of people. That was one thing that I always talked about with Rick Fay. I said one of the things I think was a benefit to us is that when we went to a seminar, we had to try to remember everything we could and come back and train it and just try to figure stuff out. And then we kind of recreated things, and then all of a sudden you're going back thinking you made something up. And then you say, Guru, check this out. He goes, oh, that's awesome to watch the 34 counters. And then like, it's amazing. And so you're like, this is so cool. But we had to really absorb it and try to just run with it, as opposed to, oh yeah, I'm just going to go work with Guru today. Yeah. So you go to the camp sometimes and people are like, you don't know the names of this? I go, no, I don't know the names of this. And Guru, I remember Guru was going to have me do some C-Lot stuff, and I go, Guru, he goes, the move was like this. And then, oh yeah, just run through it. And he goes, yeah. He goes, oh yeah, Greg didn't know all the terms, but it doesn't matter because he can do all the moves.
Yeah, I remember that was probably 25 years ago or maybe longer, but he was showing us something at a seminar, and he goes, okay, you're going to think you're a genius. He goes, I'm showing you this, and out of this combination, you're going to find hundreds of variations, and you really are going to think you're a genius, but it was already there. You just discovered it.
You discovered it. Yeah. So awesome.
It was there, but you just discovered it. So
yeah.
Don't get a big head.
Oh, no. You created it.
Yeah. I mean, I see that all the time where people are like, "Oh, did you see this move?" I'm like, "Yeah."
20 years ago.
What was that thing? There was some kind of heel hook or something recently.
Mikey Musa,
A Mikey lock or something.
yeah, and I'm going, Shooto.
It's like, you didn't invent that. What are you talking about?
Doing that since the 1990s.
He's not the only one though. There's a lot of people doing that.
Yeah.
Recently, I got to record the Shooto Lockflows with Coach Eric.
Yep.
You know, and not everybody has seen those in the industry, including myself. You know, a few of them here and there. So in this day recording, I got to watch them all happen. It's amazing how much of that stuff has come up in other people's creations over the years. And
yeah, it's like, really?
it was already there, early.
Yeah,
and it's amazing.
Well, and then they start busting out the old carnival wrestlers and all the catch stuff and all that. It's like, man, it goes back so far.
Oh yeah,
yeah, just endless. I mean, you think that of all the who knows how many eons of humanity, you just made something up that's brand new.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing I will say is that, like in the gi, because you can just be really creative and make stuff up. But when you're talking more fight stuff, like when you're getting punched in the face, that's a little bit tricky to be that creative.
They have statues of that stuff that are thousands of years old.
Yeah. You know, now you can come up with the worm guard or do some kind of crazy stuff with a lapel because the guy can't punch your face and they can't stomp on you. So it's like you get kind of free to be really creative because you don't have a risk, but not put a little risk in there. And it's like, oh yeah, that stuff doesn't work.
Narrows the field way down.
Yeah.
That's the Mike Tyson quote, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what we always talk about is like the higher the risk, the simpler things got to be. And man, you got to think about not getting freaking smashed. Damage mitigation.
Or who said the thing? Every time you get hit in the face, you lose a belt color.
Yeah. The belt and who knows what else.
And add stress in on top of that.
Yeah.
It's got to get even simpler. I mean.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it kind of cracks me up. It's like, yeah, that's why I always tell people my A game moves are the moves that will work in the gi, no gi grappling, MMA, and what I would use if I had to fight in the street. If something crosses over all the barriers right there, that's A game because I don't have to think. And I have a bunch of them that I do that with. So it's like, that's it. And a lot of it's stuff they've done for a super long time. So it's so ingrained in my system that just comes out and people are like, what is that? And I go, stuff we learned at the very beginning of all this before we had all this cool stuff that messed us up.
So true. Oh man. Awesome. Well, we're coming up on, we're a little bit over an hour. So, I want to mention one thing, and then I'll throw it to Alan in case he has any things he wants to mention. Is Gregnelson has an MMA online university, and because of COVID, we were a little slow for a little bit, and because we couldn't get together and film some things. But we're going to be doing some newer stuff for that coming up this year. Now that we can, kind of get together more frequently and all that. So just putting a little thing out there for you guys. I'll put the link in the show notes to remind everybody. Go ahead, Alan.
That was my question. Where do I go to find that?
Yeah, I'll have the link in there for you. It's Gregnelson MMA Online. So we'll put that up for you so you can see it. It's really cool. It's very similar to the CSW layout, how we have Eric's online university. But of course, it's Greg's take on things. There's a lot of motivational things in there. I mean, he went machine on me on that a while back when we started it. And I mean, there's tons of them in there on motivational things, all the things we talked about in this one, the routines and stuff. And like I say, we're going to be getting together to get some newer stuff and do some planning sessions on that very soon. So did you guys have any other business to attend to before we kind of wrap this up and don't take any more of Coach's time?
Well, I am planning on trying to schedule another seminar with Coach Greg and Coach Eric probably next year. We just moved into our new academy, so we're dealing with the finances of that this year and recovering. But I am fortunate enough that I can text Coach and ask, but if I am not able to do that, where do I go to possibly schedule a seminar or find out where you are, Coach?
Well, you can go to, obviously my Instagram and DM me there, because I do a lot of stuff off of that. That's the easiest one, because that's where most people are there. But I also have my Facebook, the Greg Nelson MMA there, and I also have my regular Greg Nelson Facebook, so you can just pop in there.
Okay.
And then we have the academy mn.com, and that for our email, and that goes to Andy, and then Andy gets it to me.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, looking forward to seeing you at camp. It's been a while, so I'm extra pumped about it this year, seeing everybody get together again. So.
Exactly. That's going to be cool. Nathan Corbett's there, so that would be awesome.
I'm sure we'll have our regulars as well. I won't say anything until they're confirmed, but the usual suspects, I'm sure, will be there.
Awesome.
And one last thing, and then we'll wrap it up, is I'd love to talk to Andy and Nat. So we, and I know you have your own podcast in the clinch. Maybe we can do a little cross-pollination there.
Perfect.
I'd love to get your core people on there. And what's that, Alan?
We've got to do something like this when we're all at camp too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Get all these guys, at the table there.
We can do
At
that.
CSW, just for a quick one. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because I was just talking to him about being driving a car with you in the back seat and Coach in the passenger seat, how amazing and entertaining that was.
All right. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening if you're audio people. It was a real pleasure to see you again, Coach. Thanks for coming on with us.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Nice seeing you guys, and can't wait till April. Right.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome.